What is going on, everybody? How is everybody doing today? Welcome here today to a really cool reaction video. We're going to be reacting to a Ringer article created in 2018 by Danny Chow predicting the 2023 NBA All-Stars. So yeah, 5 years ago, they were trying to predict the All-Star rosters that just came out. I'm actually super excited to review this article. I should start doing these every year, predicting the All-Stars in like 2026, 7, and 8, because if I'm still doing YouTube then, it would be cool to react to. I wish I knew I would still be doing YouTube today in 2023, 5, 6, 7 years ago, because I could have made some really cool prediction videos back then, trying to predict today's NBA top players, All-Stars, etc. So yeah, I'm not dunking on this article at all, because this is borderline impossible to do. Now, there might be some funny ones, like maybe they have Carmelo Anthony as a 2023 All-Star. Then I will laugh at that. But, yeah, we're gonna have fun. We're gonna react to this article today. And then I know I've made some of these in the past. I'm gonna have to, like, fish through my channel history to see if I have anything from at least 2024 that I can get excited about reviewing next year. So, we're gonna see who they have, and let's hop right in. So, this was around the 2018 All-Star game. He mentions LeBron, 33, is the oldest All-Star in the 2018 game. 2016 said goodbye to Kobe Bryant. Okay, so I don't think Dirk or Dwayne Wade retired at this point. So here's what the 2023 All-Star Game talent pool looks like today. 5 players currently in their teens. What? I don't know if that's okay. So that's like what it looks like today. So I guess 5 guys that were teenagers when this article came out. So like maybe Cade Cunningham. I don't even know who else they could have had in here. Maybe they had Luka. No, Luka was in the NBA. So I guess like Zion, Ja Morant, RJ Barrett could be here as well. LaMelo Ball, Anthony Edwards. 12 players. Half the selection are currently in the 20 to 24 range. 6 players in their later part of their 20s, mid to late part, and then just 1 player in his 30s. I'd assume that's going to be LeBron James. Even predicting LeBron to be an All-Star at 38 is a cool prediction. I'm not saying like, all right, like it wasn't completely out there, but it's nice that you predicted him to be an All-Star here. So the teen selection. So here are my 2023 All-Stars broken down by the 4 demographic ranges: teens, 20 to 24, 25 to 29, 30 plus. Listed above. Conference divisions and possible player movement were not taken into account because a lot can happen in 5 years. I agree. Like, what, back in 2018, this is when Chris Paul was traded around this time. DeMarcus Cousins was traded around this time. LeBron in the 2018 offseason, a few months later, signed with the Lakers, went from the East to the West for the first time in his career. So a lot can happen. So I perfectly agree with that. So I wouldn't like try to be like, all right, these are the 12 in the East, these are the 12 in the West. Players change positions as well. Somebody might go from a forward to a guard, guard to a forward, etc. So he has RJ Barrett at 22 years old. It's crazy, RJ's 22, and he's a really good player at 22 years old, in my opinion. He does get a lot of hate. He was not an All-Star this year. He was not really in consideration. Has he had a good season? Yes. And it's crazy because he's putting up 20-plus points per game. Usually, like maybe in 2018, if you were putting up 20 points per game, you're automatically in the conversation. But now, players like Jordan Clarkson are averaging 20 points per game. So it's not a guarantee that you're going to be an All-Star. There's a lot of talent, and we're in probably the biggest scoring boom in NBA history. Or, yeah, we're seeing like the most amount of points scored. So here's RJ Barrett. He is Luka Doncic. There you go. You got that one. DeAndre Ayton. Yeah, not an All-Star, wasn't in conversation. Michael Porter Jr., also not an All-Star, wasn't in consideration. And Jason Tatum was an All-Star starter. So we had 2 All-Star starters in Luka and Tatum. Shout out to that. This was created in Tatum's second year, so that is a cool prediction. RJ wasn't even in the NBA yet, so this was an out there one. This was, if it's the 2018 All-Star game, he wasn't even drafted for another year. Oh, wait, Luka wasn't even in the NBA yet. Yeah, this is February 15, 2018. So Luka wasn't drafted for about 4 more months. So we predicted a player not even in the NBA to make the All-Star game. RJ wasn't for another year and 4 months. Aiden, not for another 4 months. Same with MPJ. So, like, Aiden and MPJ have definitely had enough potential to make the All-Star games at some point. And I don't know if Aiden has made it. I don't think he even made it last year, right? So, like, Aiden and Porter Jr. never made one, neither has RJ, but honestly, going 2 for 5 in this category, really good. I'm trying to think, like, off the top of my head. So he has no Zion Williamson, but this is before all the Zion Williamson hype at Duke. Like, RJ Barrett was that guy going into the 2019 collegiate season. Just off the top of my head, trying to think, like, no Darius Garland. Well, he wasn't an All-Star, but no Ja Morant. We didn't really expect him to be where he was. No Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who wasn't drafted yet. He was just an All-Star. I don't think Donovan Mitchell falls into that age range. Same with Bam, but we'll see his next tier. No Jaren Jackson Jr. doesn't mention him. I mean, he was about to get drafted out of Michigan. Michigan State in a couple months. No Tyrese Halliburton. Dude, nobody would have expected that. From the 2020 draft, he would have been like an impossible prediction. If you like guessed him, you would have been a genie. So, yeah, those are the guys he has in his 20s, those 5 players. So let's see in the next age group, the 20 to 24 selection. Okay, no, that was the 2024. This is what, 25 to 29. Here's a ton. Brandon Ingram. He has made an all-star game between the time this article came out and today, but it was not this year. Jamal Murray, I don't think he's made an all-star game yet, but can't also predict an ACL tear, which he missed a lot of time. Devin Booker, not an all-star this year. Definitely would have been if he didn't get hurt, but he's made plenty in the past. Oh, he does have Donovan Mitchell. Well, there you go. Donovan Mitchell is all-star starter. Ben Simmons, yes. Ben Simmons was a very hyped player at this time. Just a few years ago, he was averaging like 16, 8, and 8 for the Philadelphia 76ers. Jokic, at this time, now he's won 2 MVPs, was an all-star starter. KP, he was in New York at this time. Yes, he was in New York, but I think around this time he just torn his ACL possibly. So yeah, he has him there. Cat, not an all-star this year, but has in the past. Giannis, all-star this year. Embiid, all-star this year. Beal, not this year, but in the past. And AD, not this year, in the past. So I would say the only one that has aged terribly is Ben Simmons at this point, because Ben Simmons' career has really taken a nosedive. Kristaps has not aged since his ACL tear with the Knicks, like, to be an all-star player, but he's definitely having his best season since this article this year. And I wouldn't say he was in the all-star conversation because the East forwards like are insane, like Pascal Siakam to even make the all-star game, but him being there, I don't think it's a bad prediction at all. Same with Murray, same with Ingram. Yeah, so like I guess the ones that age the worst are Murray, Simmons, and KP, just because, but Simmons has made an all-star game, so has KP. I guess Murray's the only guy here, I believe off the top of my head, that has not made an all-star game. You can correct me if I'm wrong. Everybody else has made it on this list, and at least since then, I believe Simmons has made it since this article. KP made it this season, but he was hurt. And yeah, everybody else has made it since Jamal Murray just hasn't made an all-star game. I mean, the Western Conference guards have been pretty freaking good. Like, you've had Chris Paul, you've had Damian Lillard and Steph Curry and Devin Booker and Donovan Mitchell in the West and Luka Doncic. So yeah, there's been a lot of competition in the West. AD, you could say, could have made it this year. But yeah, the ones that made it this year were Donovan Mitchell, Nikola Jokic, Giannis, and Embiid. That's 4, unless I'm missing somebody. But yeah, like I said, Booker probably would have made it if he had the games played. Ingram's been hurt this year as well. All right, let's go to the 20 or 30 plus section. I don't know if this is the last section, but either way, we have Kyrie Irving, was an all-star this season. Victor Oladipo, probably the worst aged one in this 2018 season. He won most improved player, but then we know he got hurt in Indiana and his career has not been the same since. Kawhi is here, didn't make an all-star game this year. He's had his fair share of injuries, but has won an finals MVP since this article came out. James Harden was not an all-star this year. I think he should have been, but yep, has been a great player since this article. He's won an MVP. Steph Curry, still one of the best players in the NBA and was an all-star starter. Kevin Durant, also one of the best players in the NBA still and an all-star starter. So I guess the 35 plus is going to be LeBron. We'll see if Chris Paul is sprinkled in here. That would be pretty cool. So, like, obviously everybody on this article, I think, has been, like, I could see the reasoning. And I see it with Oladipo, but I would say Oladipo and Ben Simmons have aged the worst since this article. But honestly, this is pretty good. This is pretty accurate, I would say, for here. I would have liked to maybe see, like, somebody, I don't know, I guess maybe there wasn't a lot of hype for Cade Cunningham yet, coming out of that 2021 class, or there's nobody even mentioned from the 2020 class, so no LaMelo Ball, no, Anthony Edwards was kind of like a late bloomer, too, to be the number 1 pick out of Georgia, and then the final section, is it just like the LeBron? Oh, no. So he didn't put in Jimmy Butler, Russ, and Paul George. Well, Paul George was an MVP. Not MVP, All-Star, sorry. You could say that Jimmy Butler should have been. Russ, yep, his career has not been as appealing to All-Star voters since he got to LA. And then lastly, we have the LeBron James section. I don't think he mentions anybody else here. So, like, I guess Chris Paul, like, could have been somebody that could have made it around this age group as well. But good thing he didn't put Carmelo Anthony, because he definitely wouldn't have aged all that well. So yeah, this was a super fun article to react to. If you guys know any other ones like that look like this, like maybe ranking like the top 25 players for 2023 or something, like if Bleacher Report made an article, please let me know. I'd love to react to that. ESPN also just dropped their updated NBA mock draft. That will be the next video on the channel, me reacting to that. Unless some player gets traded, you'll get a reaction to that as well. I love you guys, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.